In Year 4 we teach subtraction of 4-digit numbers. I am going to demonstrate the calculation 3,815 subtract 2,362 using column subtraction. So I will start by building the numbers. My first number has 3 thousands, so I'm going to use 1, 2, 3,000 blocks. It has 8 hundreds, so I'm going to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 100 blocks. It has 110, so there's my 110, and it has 5 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's my number 3,815. We do not make the second number that we are subtracting because it is clearer to write it. So I've written 2,362. We start with the right hand column, which in this case is the ones. So I've got my 5 ones and I need to take away 2. So if I take away 2, I'm left with 3 ones, and I can record that there. Now I move on to my tens. I've got 1 10 and I need to take away 6. Well, I can't do that because I've only got 1. So I need to exchange one of my hundreds for 10 tens. So that's exchanged, and I'm going to put my 10 tens into my tens column. Now I can take away the 6 tens. So I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tens, take those away, and I can see how many I've got left. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tens left, and I can record that in my tens column. Now I'm going to move on to my hundreds. I've now got 5, 6, 7 hundreds, and I need to take away 3 of them. So I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, and I'm left with 1, 2, 3, 4 hundreds, and I can record that in my hundreds column. Finally, I move on to my thousands. I've got 3 and I need to take away 2 of them. So 1, 2, and I'm left with 1,000 cube, and I can record that in my thousands column. So I'm left with my answer, which is 1,405 tens and 3 ones, which is 53. So the answer is 1,453.
So in this calculation I'm going to demonstrate subtracting a 4-digit number from another 4-digit number with 1 exchange. So the first thing I'm going to do is build the number 3,815 pictorially. Now to build 3,000s we need to try and draw these as cubes. So we're going to have a go. Off we go. So making sure it's aligned with the 1,000 columns, and I need to draw 3,000. So I'm going to draw one square in front of another and hopefully draw the lines up so it looks a little bit like a cube. There's one cube. So that's 1,000. I need to draw 3 of those, or attempt to. There's another square there, another square there, sort of. 1,000, 2,000, I've got to draw 3,000. Still trying to make sure it's aligned with the 1,000 column. Okay, that will do. So I've got 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and I've got 3,000 in the thousand columns here. Next I need to draw the hundreds, and we draw the hundreds as squares, as in year 3 and year 2 if necessary. So let's draw 800. So we've got 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. Notice how I'm keeping it aligned in the hundreds column. 600, 700, and finally 800. So I've drawn pictorially 800 and it matches my abstract 800s. Next I need to draw a 10, and we draw that with a line going down vertically as 110. So 110 in the tens column. There it goes. And lastly 5 ones. And as in year 1, 2 and 3, we will still draw our ones if we've got 5 of them in a dice formation. Okay, so I've got 3,815 pictorially. I now need to subtract or take away 2,362. So I'm going to draw my subtraction or my takeaway symbol. Pictorially, we do not draw the number when it's subtraction because it confuses the children. Sometimes they end up adding it up when it's a subtraction calculation. So we carefully write the numbers 2,362 numerically as numbers, so we now know we're going to be taking away. So I've got to take away 2 ones from 5 ones, and I'm going to do that by simply crossing them out. So here we go. 1, 2, and you can see I've got 1, 2, 3 ones left. I should have said, just like addition and subtraction in all of the year groups, we always start in column addition and subtraction on the right hand side, which is why we're doing the ones first. Next, I've got to take away 6 tens from 1 10. The children can see pictorially that there are not 6 tens there to take away, so we now need to exchange from 100. I know that 100 will equal 10 tens, so I'm going to draw 10 tens, and I'm going to try and draw 5 of those tens if I can, as carefully as I can, in one square. There's 5 tens, 6 tens, 7 tens, 8 tens, 9 tens, 10 tens, because 10 tens have been exchanged for 100. I now can take 6 away. Now the children will realise that they've drawn 5 tens in one square and they've got 1 ten up there, so they're going to take away 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they can see they've got 5 left. So we are going to write the number 5. And also if the children aren't so sure, they can still draw that. See? Pictorially, but not as ones. So I'm going to draw that again. So 6 tens away from 11 tens is 5 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Control that as the dots. Right now we need to go to the hundreds column. I've got to take away 3 hundreds from the remaining hundreds here, which I can do. So I've got 1, 2, 3. We can see we've got 4 hundreds left. The children are ready, they can write that numerically, or they can draw the 400s if they prefer, whatever is clearer for them. So we've got 400 left. 1, 2, 3, 400, still aligned in the hundreds column. Next I need to take 2 thousands away from 3 thousands, so I'm going to cross out 2 of those thousands, 1, 2, and you can see I've got one of those thousands left, so I can write number 1. Or try to write number 1. There we go, 1,000. Or, if the children prefer, so they can see it visually, they can draw the 1,000 they've got left. So we've got 1,453, 1,453. Once the children secure pictorially, we can now move to the abstract. So again, with any calculation in column addition or subtraction, we start on the right hand side. So off we go. We've got 5 ones, take 2 ones. 5 take 2 ones is 3 ones. 1 10 from 6 tens from 1 10. It's too tricky to do, so we need to exchange one of the hundreds. So I'm going to cross out the 800s. I'm going to take one of the hundreds away, which will leave 700s. And I'm going to move, without squiggling, the 10 tens into the tens column. So now you can see I've got 11 tens. So 11 tens take 6 tens equals 5 tens. And again, you can check pictorially, we've got exactly the same answer, so it matches. Then we go to the hundreds. 700s take 300s equals 400s. And lastly, 3,000 take 2,000 equals 1,000. So today I've demonstrated 3,815, take away 2,362. The answer is 1,453, or it's also known as the difference, because the answer to a subtraction calculation is known as the difference. So we could say the difference between 3,815 and 2,362 is 1,453, and we can see that pictorially as well.